Hey, biology class. Hey, we're talking about populations again today. I'm gonna keep this one short. Just kind of want to talk through one specific example that we see from time to time. We've talked about the graph on the left here, where it's exponential unrestricted growth. So things are operating at their biotic potential. There's no limiting factors. Resources are good. A more realistic look is the one on the right, the logistic growth, where we do reach this kind of what we call a carrying capacity or a max as far as what our particular ecosystem can hold. We're going to have to skip over the human population. If you had to guess between the two graphs, what kind of growth is the human population going through, the left or the right? It is the left, and it's an extreme version of the left. It has really taken off, and there's a lot of interesting facts that go into that, and if that's sustainable or not. But we're going to skip through that to talk about the one that I want to talk about today, and that is our predator versus prey relationships. If you look at a lot of populations, it is not a clear cut, just one thing living there, not reliant on anything else. A lot of times it is reliant on other factors. And we see this with the predator-prey relationship. Remember, predators are things that hunt, and prey are usually the hunted. All right. And their populations undergo this weird growth where they cycle back and forth. All right. We end up getting a graph that looks something like this. All right, this is actual data from a historical model of lynx and snowshoe hare populations in Canada. And we see that as one population goes up, that means there's more food for that other population to consume, so their numbers go up. But they reach some kind of a tipping point here where there's too many predators for the amount of prey. And we see the prey dip way down. Then the predators follow behind as their food source runs out. And it's kind of this back and forth model of their two populations are dependent on one another. Okay. We also see that in Isle Royale National Park has a similar study going on. That's the one that's right off of the very northern parts of Minnesota. It is this big island here in the middle of the lake. There are wolves and moose that live on Isle Royale, and their populations have been doing this same thing since the 1950s when they started measuring them. Okay, we see here wolves and moose, those two almost like a sinusoidal graph going back and forth. I also like this graph because we see it's got two different y-axes, so two different scales. Wolves over here on the left, moose over here on the right kind of thing. For today, you're going to be making a graph like this on Excel using some data that last semester's class generated from our predator versus prey simulation. Okay, you're going to be making a scatter plot. You're going to need to have two different data sets, and we're going to try to graph both things on the same graph. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I got confidence that you guys are going to be able to do it. Go check that out on Schoology there. A little bit of predator and prey graphing today.